Hello everyone, I am glad to welcome you to my channel. Today we will be looking at the Dark Faction. Let's start with one of my favorite characters from this faction and the game in general, Selena. What makes her so strong and why she can be used in almost any team without any combinations? Well, it's her ultimate and charm, which is the ultimate of two opponents at once. Thanks to the charm, we often win with her ultimate, although it's harder in late game, but still possible. Her second ultimate makes her deal a lot of damage, and I believe that she needs to be used in 2 copies in the Tower of Babylon faction in each team. We will improve her completely, up to the Nexus. As a companion, I use a ferret to increase her agility and make her ultimate faster. It's not the best option, but it works for me. Vexa is a very powerful character that can be used in 2 copies in the faction Tower of Babylon. She is part of one of my favorite teams in the game. The team consists of Akashi, Angela, Sylvana, and Vexa, with a 5th character chosen depending on the situation. After Akashi uses her ultimate ability, Versa's ultimate deals massive damage, and Angela's ability helps to maintain Akashi buffs throughout the battle. The team remains incredibly strong up until the 78th chapter of the campaign, although I have not progressed further as I am currently stuck there. Vexa also has a silence ability that silences the enemy, and an attack buff that makes her a valuable asset on the battlefield. We often bring her to the Nexus and enjoy her presence in both the campaign and PvP modes. We also use the wolf as a companion to support our team. Lily. The character works well in conjunction with Odette, which I mentioned in my last video. Lily can put opponents to sleep, allowing Odette to use her ultimate more quickly and hit the sleeping opponents harder. The main goal for Lily is to improve her personal soul vessel as quickly as possible in order to increase her chances of survival and collect a second set of cards to quickly gather energy for her ultimate. In addition, she works well in the faction Tower of Babylon. I personally upgraded her to the Nexus, although this may not be relevant anymore. As a companion, I would recommend a ferret to enhance her dexterity. Overall, Lily is a useful and strong character that still has room for improvement. What can I say about Vexa? For many years, her relevance has been declining, but personally, I still find her interesting and strong. I use her in conjunction with Char and Lunox for PvE activities. While Char keeps the enemy under control, her puppets deal a lot of damage. Additionally, she has an anti-heal ability, which often helps against healers on the opposing team. Overall, the character remains relevant to me as I have found ways to use her effectively. The main place where I apply her is in the fractional Tower of Babylon. Upgrading the Nexus, as far as I'm concerned, is no longer worthwhile. I would choose a ferret or cat as a pet because her primary strength lies in her puppets. If she were to be improved, I would aim to upgrade her soul vessel to level 30 as soon as possible and collect 3 sets of cards. Alice. I don't think this character is very relevant. They perform well in the early stages of the game, up until about chapter 65. However, after that, their damage to opponents decreases with each level. I wouldn't recommend beginners to invest in improving this character, as there are other, stronger characters that can fill the same role in a team. If you've already invested in this character, you can still use them in the Tower of Babylon faction. Argus. One of the tanks in our team that will always fulfill his mission is to keep the opponents at bay for a sufficient amount of time until our damage dealers can accelerate and start dealing a lot of damage. How does he withstand damage? Thanks to his passive ability, Argus becomes invincible and absorbs a large amount of damage for 8 seconds. He is a useful character, and we are upgrading 2 copies of him in the team's faction tower. We also have Sandram as a pet, which we might consider upgrading to the Nexus, but it's not one of our top priorities. Granger. He has very high damage and can be used in the Tower of Babylon for the Dark Faction. However, there are other more interesting options for my campaign. To be honest, despite his high damage, I don't really like him because, apart from his damage, he doesn't have any other interesting abilities that make him stand out from other dark characters for his role on my team. While the character is not bad, there are better options available. I prefer to use a wolf as my pet. Tamuz is a major disappointment for the Darkness faction. He seemed so promising and powerful in his abilities, but he turned out not to be a very resilient character. I would not recommend improving him. It would be better to create a second Argus. Karina was once a popular choice for guild bosses in the game, but those days are long gone. In the current meta, she is not used in any way, even in the tower. I can't think of any reason to use her, as there are many stronger characters available. Moskov, Helkurt, Hanzo are very weak and not relevant. I have an account for improving weak and irrelevant characters, and there they are upgraded to Nexus, so I know what I'm talking about. Don't even look in their direction. A few words about the characters in the game. Natsu is a very strong and persistent character, but in order to make him even stronger, you need to collect Chimera emblems in order to upgrade his abilities. This concludes our discussion of the typical factions in the game. In the next videos, we will move on to exploring the most powerful characters, those of Chaos and Order. See you soon.